It could be that this is your first job interview as a qualified nurse, or you just need a little refresher because you haven't had an interview in quite a while. This tips video will definitely help you to feel more confident in your nursing interview and hopefully equip you with the skills to get the job that you want. This video is kindly sponsored by Nurses.co.uk. Nurses.co.uk has over 6,000 nursing jobs within the UK where you can upload your CV and even have companies directly contact you to be employed by them. They have jobs within the learning disability, midwife, mental health, paediatric and adult registered nurses jobs, and you can just go online, upload your CV and hopefully be contacted for a job. You can also search through all of the jobs that they have available online and see if there's one in your speciality or area that you would like and apply. All of the information for nurses.co.uk and where you can upload your CV are linked directly in the description box below. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Grace and I am a children's nurse from the UK. I have a whole nursing series on my YouTube channel which could help you at work, so hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more from me. Let's get straight into this tips video. First of all, there are a whole host of great ways that you could be prepared for your nursing interview before you even actually get into the interview itself. My top tips for pre-interview preparation are to firstly, be on time and know your route. If it's a hospital or a place that you haven't been before for your interview, look it up online the day before. Make sure that you can use your sat-nav or Google Maps on your phone to get there and leave a little bit earlier than you need to make sure you have plenty of time to park your car, get your bearings on where you're going and be punctual. The next tip is to research the organisation that you are going to interview for, whether they are a trust or a foundation trust. If you're going for interview at a private nursing agency, go on their website, go on their social media accounts and read up about the business. It's vital that you have a little bit of background information about the business that you potentially would like to work for. And as well as researching the organisation, practice some of your interview questions the day or 2 days before with your partner, family, friends. Just get them to test you and know how it feels to be on the spot and be prepared for difficult questions. Finally, on the day of the interview, make sure you eat a good balanced breakfast. Take some water with you, preferably a bottle of water. You're probably going to be very nervous on the day of your interview, and taking water with you will help with your concentration. You also want to decide in advance what you are going to wear to your interview and prepare that and iron it the night before. Wear something that you feel comfortable in, but that is also smart, clean and presentable. Prior to your interview, you will have hopefully been prepped by the company at least a little bit and know whether you're going to have a panel of interviewers or a scenario style interview, maybe both. You might have an exam as well. Just be sure to check with your employer the day before if you're not entirely sure what your interview situation will be, so that there's no nasty surprises when you get there. Next, I'm going to give you important tips on your behaviour within an interview, and then finally what you can expect to be asked in your nursing interview. You're bound to be nervous going into an interview, especially if it's a job that you really want. The panel are likely to be sympathetic of nerves, and especially if you just say to them at the beginning, acknowledge that you are a little bit nervous if you need to. This will hopefully help the interviewer to understand that you really want the job and that nerves are just all part of the process. For me, I think the way you present yourself when you walk into the room is very important. My favourite tip to give anybody when they're going into an interview, if they have a panel, walk up to every person on the panel, shake their hands, say hello to them and repeat their name back if necessary. Hi Helen, it's very nice to meet you. This physical contact and engagement right at the start of the interview automatically gives people a good impression of you, and I believe that a handshake goes a long way. Taking these few moments can also help to diffuse your nerves before you sit down in your interview chair. If you haven't been offered water at this point, it might also be necessary for you to take your water in with you in case you get flustered or you just need to take a moment to have a drink. Make sure you take a positive outlook and an enthusiastic attitude towards the role that you're going to have when you go into interview. Employers will see this as an ideal trait to have within their team. Your body language is also key in an interview situation. Make sure you sit with an open body language. Make eye contact with the interviewers, but try not to stare. Generally sit with an open, welcoming stance. Try and keep your answers concise if you're not sure how to expand on a question that they've asked you, because this is better than nervous waffling. Finally, Be yourself, but be honest. Be completely honest about the experience that you've had, whether you think you could be suitable for a role or not, and know your strengths and weaknesses. And finally, what you will be asked in your nursing interview. Nurses.co.uk have also created their 5 top tips, which will be linked in the description box below, which will also be very useful in preparation for your interview. There are always key themes and topics that will be covered in a nursing interview. The first theme or topic that you should look at is the trust values. Every trust that you go and work for will have their own unique set of values. The core values of a trust are very important to them, and if you know them in the interview or you are able to relate back to them in any way, answering questions during the interview, this will definitely go in your favour. For example, if compassion is one of their key values and you're answering a question and it's appropriate to relate back to when you were compassionate, make sure you get that word in there from the trust values. The second thing to know is the job description. Make sure you've read the job description in detail. I personally like to print a copy off, get a highlighter pen and highlight all the key points for the job role that I am going for an interview, and relate back in the interview into how you fit the job description. Knowing about topical affairs in the nursing industry is also really important in your interview. The interviewer might ask you questions on relevant or current topics that have been in the news around nursing. Knowing about issues and topics within the NHS. Over the winter period, it's been staffing, hospitals on red alert as usual, and also having a little bit of insight into any inquiries that have been going on. For example, when I trained, Victoria Klimbay and Baby P were in the press, and there was a big inquiry called the Laming Report. This was in 2003. Next, know why you want the job and what you can offer the employer as a nurse. It's always difficult to know your strengths and weaknesses. Maybe write them down prior to your interview, know what you're good at and what you need to improve on. And whenever you're asked about your weaknesses in interview, make sure that you always end on a positive or how you feel you're improving these weaknesses, as this is always a really difficult topic to cover and you might feel that you're just telling the employer why they shouldn't employ you. But that's not the case, because having perspective on your own practice and where you need to improve is the sign of a good nurse. You're also likely to get a scenario-based question. This is often around a violent or difficult family member or patient, or it could be regarding safeguarding or an emergency situation where a patient comes in and you need to give them emergency care. So being hot on your emergency fluids, maybe trauma and just stabilizing a spine. Your A, B, C, D, E assessment is something that is really important to just take forward in interview and know that it's something that you might need to talk about. Again, practice scenarios with your family and friends before you go for your interview. Quite often NHS pay banding is very clear, but if you do need to ask about pay for whatever reason, make the question quick and direct. Move on from it, but you do need to ask about your pay if you don't know what you're going to be getting every month. Finally, you will probably have an opportunity to talk about yourself a little bit, and this is your time to shine. You can discuss what you want from your career, where you see your career path going and your future development. This is really promising for employers. They ultimately want good nurses that care about their career and want to progress either onto a management path, nurse practitioner path, education. You can do your masters. There are so many avenues you could discuss. So discuss here briefly what you feel passionate about and where you see yourself in 5 or 10 years time. This is also an opportunity whether you are going for an open interview, which could be in many specialities within nursing, or you're going for one specific branch that you are excited and passionate about. Make sure that you relate your skills and your experience that you already have back to the role that you are applying for. For example, when I went for my nursing interview, I had done 4 months in PICU in one city and a month in PICU in another city, and I wanted to specifically apply for PICU where I am working now. So I had put forward that I had 5 months of relevant experience, and this went in my favour to get a job as a PICU nurse. Ultimately, relax, be positive, and good luck in your interview. Let me know how it goes. Again, thank you to Nurses.co.uk for sponsoring this useful tips video, and check out my other nursing videos. I have some really helpful content on how to cope with night shifts, how to stay fit and healthy, and frequently asked questions about working as a nurse. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.